This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Nick George.
Welcome to the Good Neighbor Podcast. Are you in need of some legal advice in the medical arena? Well, somebody might be closer than you think that can handle that. I might have worded that backwards. It might be medical advice for legal questions. But this is Sharon Batista with Law Med. Sharon, how's it going?
It's going great. Thank you for having me, Nick. This is cool.
How should I have described you?
The backwards way. So I'm not a lawyer. I'm a nurse for over 34 years at this point. And I leverage my expertise clinically to assist attorneys with their medical malpractice and personal injury cases. So they'll get a medical record and they know the law and they know how to file a case, but they may need interpretation, translation. Does that help?
Yes. Tell us all about your business and how you got into it.
Sure thing. So, of course, I graduated back in 1991 and started practicing nursing. And through the years, I mostly worked in ICU, open heart surgery, operating room as well for open heart and other surgeries, and then went into clinical education. It's a long resume, but to make a long story short, once you get to a certain level of experience, you have expertise in certain areas. And I did consider doing legal nurse consulting. I had heard about it. I started to research, and I didn't think I was ready at a certain point until shortly after COVID, when I was just angry. And I almost thought of becoming an attorney myself if I wasn't this far along in life and the tuition was a little bit less expensive, I would have gone and done that. But that's what pulled the trigger to make me launch this company as first a sole proprietorship in 2022. And last year, which was a year from hell, I started it as an LLC.
This is a burgeoning industry, and at least in the mind of the people that need it, they're not aware of the necessity for it. And you're right, after COVID, man, it lit up like a Christmas tree how people needed people in your position. What are some myths or misconceptions in your industry that have popped up?
Well, there are two, and I'll make it brief. The first one is that we work for plaintiffs or injured people directly. A lot of times they'll come to me and say, hey, can you analyze this record for me? And I did it once for someone who couldn't find a lawyer and said she was trying to find one. And it just made for trauma because there was a lot in there that was done wrong. And it was a 5,000-page medical record. I did not accept money because I don't have a fee schedule for them. So my attorneys are clients. That segues to the second misconception that we are ambulance chasers. I have been called that on the internet. People don't understand what I do. Lawyers who already have a case, so an injured person, either by medical malpractice or an accident or, wrongful death of their family member, they'll approach an attorney, hire that attorney, and the attorneys hire nurses like me to help them decipher the medical and translate the story of what happened. So. Wow.
Can you give us some examples without tripping any algorithms that are going to block us?
Absolutely. And I know what those are because I was censored for nearly 4 years. I just got back on LinkedIn, actually, and I wish I had access to LinkedIn Live, but I don't have enough followers yet because I just got back on for being locked out. So repeat the question.
Can you give us some examples, maybe a simple one that people can understand where you helped out?
Sure thing. Well, I was hired by an attorney and worked on a nurse attorney panel for a certain hospital in a certain state that had a pattern of missing sepsis diagnosis. So it's a very overlooked diagnosis, especially during COVID when antivirals, which is the wrong treatment for a bacterial sepsis, were being thrown because of the government protocol. And there was a PrEP Act immunity clause in place that made all the hospitals immune if they were using countermeasures at all. So it was almost like you could give a patient really bad care in an ICU, miss a diagnosis, not give antibiotics, and get away with it under this clause. And that attorney actually wound up piercing that clause in an appeals case in court.
How do you market yourself to the people that need you now? I think I know who your target group is, but if you could repeat out loud who needs you and how you're trying to reach them now digitally, just in case we can learn a thing or two about how you reach out to potential clients.
Thanks for asking, Nick. It's very niche what I do. So, I'll go to a lot of these, neighborhood community networking, and it's a little difficult for me because my clients are strictly attorneys, right? So marketing is an icky subject for me because I never want to come across salesy. So now that I'm back on LinkedIn, what I mostly do is show that I have a lot of clinical experience. I'm delivering an actual educational podcast via Zoom. I'm not as coordinated as you. Next week, Thursday, January 22nd at 1 p.m., for attorney clients about tests pending after discharge. So real quickly, not to get all clinical and sciencey, when a patient is discharged from the hospital, but the doctor has ordered tests and then they never looked at the results, so they're unresulted, patient goes home, and those tests are positive and they miss a diagnosis, patient comes back to the hospital readmitted or dies. That is a problem. So I'm going to be discussing that next week. So things like that, showing authority clinically, the ability to analyze data and report on it succinctly. We have to point to causation, right? So I don't want to get into the elements of meritorious case, but we screen cases for merit to see if they fit the criteria and that there was causation, that someone breached the standard of care during patient's care, and that breach caused their injury or death.
Heck yeah. You need your own podcast. You ever thought about that?
I have actually the YouTube channel that I should be streaming through right now. I have the Lawyer's Secret Weapon podcast set up, but I see that it's a lot of work and a lot of tech. And as it is, when I analyze medical records, I'm dealing with tech, and it's a lot of time to run a podcast. So that is a goal for me in the future. Thanks for asking.
What do you do for fun when you're not helping people?
Well, I really think it's fun, and call me insane, but I really think it's fun to do all the little pieces that are required for running a business, because it progresses me and it relaxes me. However, when I do get time and the weather's nice, I love to be outside, even regardless of the weather, working out, getting hikes in nature. I love horses, but I don't get around them enough. I listen to a lot of podcasts like yours and also med-legal ones, and I learn from lawyers. That's fun to me. I'm kind of a nerd.
Sharon, what do you want the average listener to take away from our interview about law med and Sharon Batista? What do you want us to what do you want the big takeaway to be? What do you want people to remember tonight when they're looking at the spackle on the ceiling trying to go to sleep?
Well, thanks for asking. Let's just say I went into nursing in 1991 because I really cared about humans, and people in my position can work for either the plaintiff or the defense. So far, only the plaintiff side has hired me. I'm vicariously still helping patients through plaintiff attorneys when I do help on those cases. But not all cases have merit, and I do understand the need for defense sometimes. Sometimes there isn't meritoriousness in a case, right? Maybe there's an explanation, or they did follow the standard of care, or it didn't cause harm. So I guess the takeaway is that I market myself as the objective detective. So any attorney listening who does personal injury and med mal, you can be assured that you're protected while your case is being analyzed, that I don't go in having already decided that there was a problem or there wasn't a problem because of bias. I go in, I look at the data objectively, which protects you and your client.
Sharon, what are all of the ways that people can find you online, and your website, social media, and a phone number if that's appropriate?
Sure thing. I might not leave the phone number. It's on the website, but my website is lawmedlegalnurse.com, lawmedlegalnurse.com. If there's anyone out there that's great at web design, I built this website myself and could use some help in the year 2026. At that website, there's a form for lawyers to fill out as an inquiry. And then on all of my social media, which is related to LawMed, there is a link for a free case consultation. You can schedule it on a calendar.
Well, Sharon, it's been really exciting and educational and meaningful. We wish you and LawMed the very best moving forward.
Thank you so much. I think it's very generous that you do these podcasts, and thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpfortcollins.com. That's gnpfortcollins.com. Or call 970-438-0825.